Welcome everybody back to another Monday live stream. Today we got a good one. I'm fired up about this. This is going to need a part 2, I think. I got to a point here where I was like, well, maybe I should just call this part 1. Maybe I should just title this part 1 because of the side of the ball that I heavily leaned into for this one, but I'm going to leave that open. I'm going to leave it open if we want to do a part 2 to this, because this is an opportunity to talk about some guys that maybe just haven't gotten some attention. Maybe they have. I don't know. Maybe we've talked about them all offseason. Maybe we haven't, though. Maybe we haven't. And I think there's a chance that, like, hey, this could be that offseason for him where it's like, there's the jump. There's the jump that guy needed. And there's definitely a lot of guys that we could throw into this. But I'm looking at this more from the perspective of the jump takes place during all these offseason workouts. So, like, during all these mini camps and these OTAs, and it's like, okay, maybe we see it pop. Maybe it's training camp / preseason. And then that can carry over to the regular season. But everybody on this list is in a different stage. Everybody here is a different stage, right? Not everybody's in the same spot where it's like, well, he could become a starter this year. Maybe there's like one of those on here, maybe. But everybody's in a different spot where it's like, okay, maybe he can make the roster because he pops. Maybe this guy could become a starter. There's a lot of these on here. So everybody's in a different stage. It's an opportunity to talk about some guys that maybe we haven't given enough attention to, but maybe I also have. Now, y'all know one guy is going to be on this list because I said we were going to have him on a list soon, and I was like, this is the perfect opportunity, so let's do it. He actually inspired this list, so shout out to that player for inspiring this list. But that being said, let me make sure I got everything on here correctly. Okay, we're good. All right, let's jump right into it. Let's talk about these players. No particular order, but all different stages. And the first one, offseason is going to matter a lot because we might just not see him during the regular season, and that would be ideal. Ideally, we probably don't see this player in the regular season. He's awesome in the offseason, all these offseason workouts, all the lead up to the regular season. That's preseason, everything included. He's awesome in all of that, but he doesn't play in the regular season. So this is the opportunity to do it. And last year, we saw this player take some strides every week in the preseason. It never got to the point where we're like, whoa, that guy's incredible. But you saw strides, and I went back today, and I think I watched more of him than anybody else on this list because he's intriguing to everybody. And I'm watching, and I'm like, there's like issues here, but these feel very possible that you could clean these up. And we heard a lot of positivity, like, oh man, hey, this guy's going the right direction. Like this guy during the season's doing a lot of things right. And we just don't see it as fans. We don't know where he's going. So the first player, nobody's got it right. Nobody's got it right, by the way. But y'all have talked about him. That's going to be offensive tackle Giovani Manu. Giovani Manu is going to get his jumped off here because he played in every preseason game. He played a ton compared to everybody else. He played 150 snaps in 3 preseason games. He played a ton, especially towards the back end. He played every snap against the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 3 at left tackle, and we left him at tackle. Even Brad Holmes talked about, like, well, we could have went with guard, but we left him at tackle. And tackle is going to be fascinating this year because actually to start this list, a little insight here. The player that I left off this was Jamarco Jones. I considered, like, should we start there? Because I like Jamarco Jones. He only played 1 preseason game last year. And I go back and watch. I'm like, okay, the more I'm watching, the more I'm like, I don't know how far this could actually get. Like, at its best, I still think I don't know if he makes the team. There's legitimate concerns there as well as he performed in that 1 preseason game. That said, though, when I watch Giovani Manu, 1, you have the investment. You threw a 4th-round pick at this guy. So this is great. It's year 2. So that usually is where you look for the jump for these players. Offensive line tends to take some time, though. So even if it's not year 2, if it's year 3, that's fine. And it's very different from Manu. Very different, right? They didn't even line up the same. You had to be a yard off the line of scrimmage in where he played, right? I mean, this guy, way different for Giovani Manu. But when I go back and I watch, and we know that he's a big man. Like, he looks different versus everybody else, but he's so nimble. Like, he's 350 pounds, but he looks nimble. He's tall, he's big, and he looks nimble as a mover. The thing that kept standing out to me, and you'll see him on at left tackle here, it kept standing out to me is this guy recovers like crazy. Like, his ability to get back into a play, his ability to recover when he gets himself in a bad spot, that was so noticeable, especially for an offensive tackle, because and this is why it was perfect, because if you put him side by side with a guy like Jamarco Jones, he said, hey, Jones, let's say he played better, and I don't even necessarily know if I agree with that. Let's say his 1 preseason outing was better. He grades out much better. Let's say that was better. If you watch the way that those two accomplished what they accomplished, the way that Manu's doing it feels a lot more consistent. It feels like, okay, there's actually something that we can build off of here. The way that he's going about winning the losses These are building blocks. He looked like a building block last season. Showed up in so many ways. Like the kick step off the line was like, all right, maybe we got to get that faster. We got to get him off the ball quicker. Can we get him a little off the ball just a little bit quicker? Even as a run block, can we get him off the ball a little bit faster as a reach blocker? Can we get him out faster in pass protection? Just a tick faster, just to help him a little bit, because you're watching him against Pittsburgh and they're attacking him. They're going at him on the edge. It's like they're just trying to race around the corner, and he did a good job, pushing guys out of the pocket, but they're just attacking him. So it's like, okay, can we get a little bit quicker off the ball? His pad level is consistent. He's very consistent with his pad level. He's bent throughout the rep as a tall offensive tackle that's getting all these recovery positions because maybe he puts himself in a bad spot early. He's recovering with really good, consistent pad level. He had bend to his game, and it was showed up as then he started to show power. And it was like, all right, I can see that he can drive guys a little bit as a run blocker. So you got to see just a little bit of everything when you started to watch him. And the big thing that showed up as a legitimate issue to me, my bad, that's the wrong player. The big thing that showed up as a legitimate issue to me was hand usage, which was a consistent problem. It was like where he's getting his hands, the way that he's like trying to grab players rather than punching. There's not as much patience there. He's setting with awkward angles, so he would like overset in run lanes where he'd allow guys to get on an edge. He'd do the same thing as a pass protector too, where it's like it doesn't feel like he's positioning himself that well, especially as a run blocker. He wouldn't really fit in next to players. He would just leave creases that could be attacked. So you're seeing all these little things. And it's like all these things feel very correctable, but the athlete's there. You can see when he gets his hands inside, which he's very capable of doing, is getting his hands inside and kind of driving guys around. You see a lot of power, and it's something that feels like there's a consistent base that you can build upon with Giovani Manu. So for me, I wasn't planning to put him on this list, but the more that I watched, the more that I was intrigued, and I was like, you know what? I think he's got to be on here. Giovani Manu's coming into a year where I don't know how far this can go, but could he get himself where he's the backup? Like maybe that's the ceiling where he's like, yo, hey, our backup tackle, we're not going to Dan Skipper, we're going to Manu, because that does feel legitimately open. Like that seems like a possibility. Like, okay, maybe that's on the table. Maybe that's on the table where he became that for us. But other than that, I don't know. Like, I mean, we don't want him to play next season. That'd be ideal, but this is a huge year for him. So it's kind of a good spot because like let's just do well during the offseason. Let's see where the jump went, and then from there you don't really have to play. So it's perfect. We'll just put Giovani Manu in here. But this could be the year, right? This could be the offseason. Okay. And a lot of that, again, is just some things that we don't really know about this player. All right, let's go to the next one. I think this one's in a different path because I'm pretty confident Manu's making the team. If he didn't make the team, I'd be surprised. This next player, I'm not sure is going to make the team. I mean, it's probably working well against him of him making the team. He's more of a maybe even practice squad bubble type of player. But this was the player that inspired a list like this because we had brought him up and I was like, oh, we got to do something on this player. Like, why? I saw the name and it fired me up. I'm like, why haven't we talked about him at all? We got to talk about him. We got to talk about him a little bit. It's not that. The player, come on, man. It's Nate Lynn. That's right. We're going to William and Mary. Hey, shout out to the small schools, man. Hey, Colby Swarsto would have worked for that, actually. We're going to go to Nate Lynn. Nate Lynn, who played 22 snaps against the Giants in the preseason, the first preseason game, gets injured. He's knocked out. That's it. That's all we see in Nate Lynn. Picks up 5 pressures in those 22 snaps. He's in a room that a lot of pieces, right? But there's a multitude of players that are not locked. Like there's a lot of undrafted players that he's competing against there. There's the Isaac Ukwus, the Mitchell Agudes. There's a lot of guys that came in through free agent signings. Nobody's on long-term deals there. There's a lot of potential path to kind of work your way up. And it doesn't feel like he's at the top right now. But if you do go back and you watch that game that he did play, Nate Lynn was with the second team. So he was out there with like the Braddock Martins, who, of course, I think Braddock Martin did make the team. Like that's the kind of group that he was with. So he had some love last year already going for him. That was very noticeable. It's like, okay, they seemed to like him last year already, and it just so happened he got hurt. Now, for me, what's the next step? For me, it's clear. It's like, okay, run defense. Because for a lot of the guys that we would see last year, Uku, the guys that we would see at times, even if you want to put Muhammad, I thought about putting Muhammad on this list. When you see those players, you see like, okay, they got better against the run, or they physically have a body type that handles the run a lot better at the point of attack. It just, that's their thing. When you watch Nate Lynn, you don't feel that as much. You don't feel him very long. You don't feel like he sets the edge that well. You kind of just feel more as like a movement piece that can maybe find some slither and get upfield and make a play, but you don't really feel like that's a run stopper right there. But when you watch him, you see what he does, and that's what he does to get after the quarterback, right? He's got a lot of shake to his game. He's got some hand usage that tends to be a little more detailed than you would expect. You see the nasty spin move that he also showcased. He did that a lot of college, but he also showed that in the NFL too. So he flashed all the things that he would flash in college. He showed a lot of hit power to his game, a lot of core power. Like there was a physical ability to like win as the rep went along at the top of the rush and just find ways to kind of slowly collapse the pocket. But there was a lot of nuance to it. He didn't feel overly bendy. He wasn't overly explosive. He didn't fly off the ball. He didn't look athletically like just different. He didn't have some of that crazy closing speed. And again, he's not like super powerful to like set the edge against the run. So seeing that, it's like a little bit concerning in some ways. Like, okay, is he going to be able to add this element? And that'll be the question this offseason. I would assume here's why I like having him on this list. This is an offseason, right? One, get healthy, right? Get healthy versus last year. But two, if you give him a full offseason where he's training, like weight training with these guys, and it's like, let's see if we can maybe get a little bit more, maybe just more like leaner, more explosive in that sense, where you're just more powerful, you're more cut. And if he got there athletically and that started to shine a little bit more, where it's like, okay, he looks a little bit more explosive power than maybe what it was, a little more twitchy power to his game, with already having some of that fluidity as a rusher that he flashed in a very small sample size. Nate Lynn's in a good spot because as tough as it is to make him make the team, if you were predicting the team, like, hey, I don't know who the heck's going to predict him to make the 53 if he did it right now. But the guys that he's competing against, it's not like the Lions have, we have to keep this guy because like they have none of that really in front of him. It just would come down to numbers. It'd be how many guys to keep on the interior. And the fact that we have injuries on the interior coming into the year is also valuable for him. I mean, it's like, hey, dude, you could jump guys that literally because they're not available. Like you could find a spot because guys are not available. The biggest competition would be like a guy like Muhammad potentially. He's not even on the big deal. I mean, you're talking about Mitchell Agude, Nate Lynn, Isaac Ukwu. Ahmed's a lock, right? We would assume he's a lock, and then a Muhammad. Like those are your edge rushers that he's battling against. And then even if you went to the interior, is Pat O'Connor going to make it? He probably has a nice little spot because they're different styles, of course, but just from a numbers perspective, because he was with Casey and there's a crossover. Chris Smith, an undrafted free agent. Miles Adams, who was a very cheap contract. I don't even think he has any guarantees this year. Broderick Martin, right, going into year 3, completely different position. But just from a numbers perspective, there is an opportunity. There's an opportunity to be awesome and stand out. And the Lions gave all these guys opportunities last year when they were just rolling dudes out. Matthew Betts, it was Ukwu at the time, it was Agude, and they rolled all those dudes out there. James Houston's no longer here, who ended up winning it. He ended up getting the spot. He's not even here anymore. So your opportunity, there's a potential path. It won't be easy because my thing is numbers wise, there could be a path where none of those guys make it and Ahmed's the cutoff. But if there is a number that opens itself up because of some of the interior injuries, maybe that's a spot where he can try to step in. So Nate Lynn, got to give him some love because we haven't done it yet, which is disappointing. That's on me. We should have done that by now, but there we go. We'll put him on there. Okay. And I would have put him on there. I would have put Wingo on there, but the issue with Wingo is the injury he's coming off of. So for the offseason, I didn't want to include him. If we were just talking during the season, though, like Wingo is amazing on my Madden team. Now, to be honest with you, I paid him a lot of money. Wingo's out. It was weird because he's so good on Madden where I'm like looking at it and I'm like, man, every time I watch Wingo play and I see him on the field, I'm like, oh, that guy's a dog. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's because of Madden. I'm like, I paid him like $15 million a year. I'm like, that's not real life. But maybe he gets there. Maybe that's a sign of something positive. I don't know. Hopefully. Anyways, let's continue. We got 3 more guys to get through. The next one is someone that I feel like is in a similar situation to Nate Lynn, but it's all because it's also at a position which is in a very similar spot to me. Like this spot is a lot of you can jump that guy. Like there's a path here. And I think especially this offseason with the way that the Lions addressed this position, which was essentially not addressing this position. I mean, they signed one player at this spot on a very cheap contract, mainly for special teams, we would assume. They have a guy back that we like that's not on any kind of big deal. He came back kind of late in the process. These are all players that you could pass here. All guys you could pass, including Deron Gilbert, who literally was competing with the rookies at rookie minicamp. So for me, at number 3, we're going to go, I forgot his name for a second, Abraham Beauplan. I don't know. My bad. I forgot his name. I drew a blank there. It's on my paper. I just drew a blank. Abraham Beauplan is the 3rd player on our list here who had a outstanding preseason last year. It's crazy. I mean, last year, everybody seemingly played well at backer last year. The depth was fantastic, and we still like that room because of what they got out of those guys. But it's a lot of new guys. Like, it's not the same. Everybody came back. We got all the same depth. Like, it's a lot of newness. You have Alex, you have Jack, you have Barnes. You got those guys locked in. Malcolm locked in. But beyond that, now it's Grant Stewart, a lot of special teams. It's Trevor Nowaski, who I think is going to make the team. But is there a chance there? Trevor Nowaski's flexibility helps him a lot. I would give him the nod. If they keep anybody beyond that, it's Ezekiel Turner, who they seemingly kind of like in coverage, special teams as well, but it wasn't great last season. Anthony Pittman, who I thought like, oh, they might try to play him in that Barnes role. And they did a little bit. It's like, all right, maybe let's not. Let's put him back at linebacker. So they're like, okay, let's not do that. Deron Gilbert, like I said, was literally at rookie minicamp competing. So it's going to depend on the numbers here. But I think him and Trevor Nowatzki could be the best spot. Like if you could somehow upend Trevor Nowatzki, and that would be difficult because Nowatzki, I think, brings more versatility. But if you could somehow try to do that, maybe show some flexibility, maybe that's your path to getting in here. Maybe can you play on the ball a little bit? Like that could be your path to surprising some people. So Abraham Beauplan is up next, and it's mainly because of what he did last preseason. Like it's majority of this is simply what the guy did last preseason. And he's such a good movement piece. Like he moves a lot better than his build. He's very stocky. We had multiple linebackers, think about it, come in for tryouts. That some of them, is a little bit similar. We had a very stocky linebacker come in for tryouts for us, but he moves really well. He's got a quick trigger. He plays very fast. He feels like he's very instinctual against the run. He closes really well when he gets out in space. He also showed to me a little bit of blitzing upside as well, which intrigues me a lot. That's something I'm trying to keep an eye on. And then in man coverage, it's like, okay, this doesn't feel like it's going to work, but he's not terrible. Like he's dealing with flats pretty well. A tight end leaks out. He's got the movement speed to kind of do it. He kind of works in traffic pretty well. It's just like, are we going to get any playmaking there? And then can he really handle much zone coverage? Because if I put him in zone, like, well, he'll quick trigger, close downhill. He plants drives. That's all explosive. But the bouncing and coverage, kind of squeezing routes, that feels like it could be much more of a problem. Some of that fluidity there. So overall, like, can he make some plays in coverage is the first thing. Is he out there making plays? Because if he continues to be the guy that plays fast and he's instinctual, and to me, he's got a little blitzing upside. The guy's stocky at 200, I said 600 pounds, 230, that'd be a big dude. 235 pounds at 6'2". He's already on kind of like there's not a lot of linebackers like that in today's NFL. So he's already built pretty, he's used his length pretty well. He kind of gets off blocks, early punches. He's shown some like nasty plays working downhill. Like there was an example. I mean, he just literally ran over a dude last year just working downhill, ran against Kansas City. That's the kind of thing that intrigues me about Beauplan. I'm I'm watching the physical tenacity that he plays with. It makes me wonder a little bit. It's the special teams where it starts, but if there is a spot, maybe. Okay, let's go to number 4. I'm not sure who number 4 is on this list. Let me see who I have next. Oh, this one. Yeah, this one's easy money. This one's easy money. This one is easy money because number 1, there's injuries, right? So we're talking about guys that can pop during the offseason. These are the guys that's like, yo, make your name for yourself in offseason. And one guy that I love for this is a guy that was not here last offseason to do this, but he jumps in during the season. I'm watching. I'm really fired up about how he's playing. I was excited when we signed him because I thought where he was previously, he actually showed a lot of flash. He just didn't get on the field that much. And his body type fit really well with us. He came in, played twice against NFC North teams, Packers and Vikings, performed in a very rotational role, but I thought he performed pretty well. We re-signed him this offseason, not to any kind of large deal, but to the deal that he got, it was like, okay, this could be really valuable. Without a guy like Mekhi Wingo, this could be valuable because like Wingo brings inside-outside flexibility. He could kind of play DN as like a 3-4 DN if you want him to. He could play defensive tackle as a 3. He's got a little bit of juice as a pass rusher. So because of that reason, he's got an opportunity. And if you look at the interior, right, obviously we have some injuries there, but with the injuries to Aleem, with the injury to Wingo to start the season, you have DJ, you have DJ Rader who's locked in right now. You got Ty Leaks who's going to be locked in next to him. Levi could play a little bit on the outside. We'll lock him in on the interior. And then what? Roy Lopez. So you're at 4. You're at 4 guys. They're like, I feel good. Those guys make the team. And one of them might be bouncing it outside. So then your mix is Broderick Martin, Pat O'Connor, Chris Smith, Miles Adams. Everybody on there is something different, right? But I still value flexibility for that. Because unless you stand out in your one role, flexibility could be the teetering factor. If I got 2 guys and I'm looking at Broderick and him, and I like Broderick, but if they're like, hey, Broderick, let's say Broderick's the same at nose tackle as this guy is that I'm about to mention at his position, but the other guy, we actually feel pretty comfortable that not just that he can play in different spots, but he'd actually be impactful from different spots. And a huge reason for that is that he can get after the quarterback a little bit. So you called it. It's Mr. Miles Adams. Miles Adams. I mean, look, man, I feel like I got Miles Adams, I think, could shock some people because this is the opportunity to do it, right? You're going against backups. You're going against other guys that are trying to make the team in these offseason workouts. He's going to be going against the KOs. He's going to be seeing the young offensive Miles Fraziers. He's going to be going at Tate Ratledge, and he's going to be going at those guys, right? Nitain Mutai. That's the guards that he's going to be seeing a lot of times. That's the reps. So you're going to see him against backups and young guys. And Miles Adams got some juice. Pat O'Connor. And look, man, I would honestly, if I'm guessing, I'd give Pat O'Connor the nod because of the connection, and he's got a ton of flexibility. But I think you could make an argument. Miles Adams, maybe with a little bit less flexibility, is better at his spots than Pat O'Connor. You could buy into that based on his size, based on the athleticism, the agility he plays with, and again, the juice as a rusher. So for me, Miles Adams has an opportunity to pop in these offseason because he could pop by beating some of these linemen, interior offensive linemen that are young. He could pop up against them as a pass rusher. He could show that, and then he could just work all over the place. Oh, we need you here. Boom. I'll pop into that role. And now Miles Adams has a chance for the first time to have an offseason with us. And that's fascinating. Like, I'm fired up to see that. We saw against the Vikings, he was cooking. They went out and they addressed the interior offensive line. Miles Adams may have forced his team to address their offensive line. Maybe not, but I'm going to believe it. I'm going to believe that it was. He's doing all this stunt work. He's super agile. He's forklifting guys. He's got a little bit of get off. Like, he's got a little juice when he gets off the ball. Same thing as a run defender. He's got a lot of pop in his hands. There's a real jolt to his game. As a run defender, he fits in pretty well to what the Lions want to do. He works inside the tackles really well. He's got a little shimmy and a little bit of shake to his game. Miles Adams having an offseason with the Lions is awesome. I want to see what it turns into. But this guy played 46 snaps for the Lions already last season. They seemingly like him. He was brought up by one of our assistant coaches, like immediately, that, you know, Miles Adams was the guy that was like, man, I didn't know what that was. Like seeing the whole picture defensively and learning it that way. He just hasn't found a spot. He hasn't found a spot yet. And to me, this could be a spot. It's a great opportunity to do it. Miles Adams at number 4. All right, let's go to number 5. Last player on this list. You know what we had to do. All right, look, there's a lot of guys. This is why we'll probably do a part 2. But I wanted to change it up. And I told you there's one guy that kind of feels like, well, maybe it's the where he could get to is a little bit higher. Maybe not, right? It's going to be difficult. There's no doubt. Unless there's injuries, it's going to be really difficult. But I'm like, at some point, we're going to have to mention this guy. And obviously, I was huge on him coming out of the draft. So this just makes too much sense. I mean, he's got to be on it. If you didn't know, this is my guy coming out of the draft. And he played a solid amount for the Lions last season. It's not Jamar Jefferson. I did, I was watching back these games. I'm seeing Jefferson on the sideline. I'm like, oh snap. like should he, no, I'm not going to do that. I did think putting Vaki on here. I did think about putting Vaki on here. The only issue I have with Vaki is this. It's not an issue with him because Vaki's awesome. One, I think it's hard for running backs to pop during a lot of the offseason stuff, training camp. I think it's hard for the running backs to really shine. So that's difficult. Who have a new running back coach, that could lead to some kind of buzz there. But I thought he popped last year. Like, I thought Vaki was awesome in the preseason last year. Like, I don't know if that's not – I thought that was, like, widely accepted. Like, yeah, he was pretty awesome in the preseason. Then he played a little bit during the regular season. So I was like, I'm not going to lie. I feel like he's already kind of done it. But this player did pop during the offseason. Not going to say maybe as much in the preseason. The regular season was in and out with injuries, and it wasn't great. But now he's on it, but he's in a different space, right? Like the guys that we're talking about like, okay, popping off scene, that's great. But like we're talking about a different space. These are the dudes that you want to go see dominate, right? You want to see them dominate at this point. And I'm telling you what, that receiving room's looking pretty good right now. I'm getting fired up. You got young guys in there. You got an Isaac Tesla you got to deal with. This big, powerful, go up and get it receiver that can run like crazy. You got Dominic Lovett, who right now I'm editing the video. Hopefully it's out tonight. You got those dudes you got to deal with on top of what we already had. And there's one guy that can answer the challenge. Well, there's actually multiple, but we're going to put him on here anyway. It's Ennis Rakestraw Jr. Yeah, he made the list. Ennis Rakestraw is going to wrap it up in number 5. Cornerback, second-round pick last season. We saw him a little bit this past year in a few games. Mainly the games that we saw him play in was like, all right, game's kind of over. They put their backups in, which is great, by the way. It's kind of cool to know, like, you had games where you're beating teams, like, by that much where, like, your backups are not playing. It kind of threw me off. Like, I went back. I'm like, I thought Rakestraw played. But I go back to see his snap counts, and I'm like, wait a minute. Rakestraw played a lot more than I thought, and that's because we had a couple games where we're just blowing teams out. Some of the games, they didn't really pass the football, which is a problem. We did see him a little bit, and the Lions tell us this offseason, they're like, hey, we're going to focus this guy on the outsideism now. Now, will that last? I don't know. Maybe they're going to move it back and forth. I didn't think it looked great last season. I mean, I don't think it was horrible, but I don't think it looked great, not for what I expect of the player. So we got to see him get healthy first and foremost. I just messed that up. But let me fix this right here. But I think the movement skills, when you watch him kind of move around, and the idea of like, let's just plant him in one spot to see if he plays faster, that to me could add some interest here. Let's see if he can play faster. And I could understand why they're like, let's not bounce him around anymore. Let's just leave him in a spot and let it go, because he was playing inside. He was playing outside. It felt like in coverage, he was given too much space at times when he was kind of playing on the outside and off coverage, but you still felt like some of the talent that was there. Like you saw that short area burst was fantastic. Every once in a while, would flat, like you saw it against CeeDee Lamb at top of the right, kind of that burst that he had. He just stuck right with him in his hip. And you're like, okay, there's some juice there. You saw him in off coverage, kind of the vision, the way that he kind of get on guys' hips, but not get called for flags. And he kind of just roll with them throughout the route and off coverage. You saw some comfortability there. But this is where it shined. The opportunities to get up, be physical with guys, and you're watching. And even though this was reception that he gave up against Green Bay, when he was able to get physical, disrupt, just kind of change the nature of the route, you're watching him against Jaden Reed, you're watching him run stride for stride. And you'll see other plays where you watch him and a guy just, he burned him. I can't remember which game it was. There was a game I was watching this year where he just got burned over top. It ended up being incomplete, some missed pass, but he gave up a step or two. Getting over top, and he was trying to play off coverage, playing half turn. It looked a little bit awkward. Guy gets a step on him, branches over there. And then you see him press, and you're like, that looks like Rakestraw. Like, we concerned the long speed, but if he can do that, which the Lions like to do anyway, that could be a huge reason to leave him outside. His transition quickness didn't feel outstanding either last season. He felt a little bit heavy when he was trying to move. I just felt like he needed to play a lot faster. And I thought putting him into some of those alignments, it just looked slow. It looked a little bit sluggish. He didn't feel as twitchy. I didn't feel like he was playing as fast. This is the opportunity to play faster, being in it for a second year. Go battle guys in those one-on-ones, because those guys that can battle in one-on-ones, man, those guys shine during the offseason workouts. And last season, he was great during the offseason activities as well. He was getting interceptions. He was all over the place, right? We know who tackle. We know who do all those physically aggressive things. So he showed that last year. But this is the opportunity. It was Christian Watson. Okay, this is the opportunity for that kind of slow down for him. And I think the idea for them is we're going to leave him in one spot that we hopefully have the game slow down for him a little bit more, because we see some of the good there. We see some of the bad there and some of the concerns. Game needs to slow down for him. So this is a great opportunity for that, for him to settle into a spot. Now, what's the upside? I would say highest ceiling he could get to this year is he could start. Like there's a spot where he could, now obviously injury could lead to that, but he could legitimately win a job. Like it's very unlikely. I wouldn't bet on it, but like, could he pass Terrion? It's on the table. I don't think it'll happen. Could he play so well in the slot, like take a meek out, put him in? It could happen, but if he's lined out wide, then probably not. So at most likely, cornerback 4, right? That's most likely we're going to settle him into. But that cornerback 4 is going to get snaps. Injuries or not, that dude's going to get snaps. You're going to get packages where he's got to be on the field. So for me, a guy like Rakestraw could fend off a guy like Avonte Maddox, right? Avonte Maddox could fend off a player like Rakestraw, because he's in a spot where it's like, well, if he actually is getting snaps in the slot and all of a sudden team puts out 4 receivers, it's like we actually keep Avonte up the field for Rakestraw. He's the kind of guy that could hold him off, right? So that could be where he gets himself back onto the field again next season. You guys know I love me some Ennis Rakestraw, and because of that reason, at some point we had to talk about him. He wraps our list up at number 5. Honorable mention for me was Sione Vaki. I wrote him down. Sione Vaki was the honorable mention. I looked at Colby Sorstel, but it just didn't feel with Colby Sorstel as honestly consistent. Like even the ways that Giovani Manu was losing last year, by the time you get to that third preseason game, man, it's like I like the technique though. Like I could buy into a lot of things. He's grabbing a lot, he's kind of reach. Let's get some more patience to his game. But man, he's nimble for a big man. He's recovering like crazy. He's got some drive to his game. He really chaps to a lot of the box. He's not super athletic, like just the way we can get off the ball a little bit faster, and he's got enough there. That stood out to me a lot more. So there was guys that I consider, but those five felt really good with. Rocky Sin is a great one. This is a great opportunity for him. I mean, that's the kind of player that should be on a part 2. That's a part 2 type of player right there. That is what that is. No Tom Kennedy. Because in fairness, Tom Kennedy is the MVP of pretty much every single lead up to the regular season. That's no disrespect. That dude is outstanding every preseason. So I don't know what else he could do. I think we kind of just know what Tom Kennedy is. And it's like, I don't think we're going much further past this. It's like, all right, he's going to be amazing and he'll be very reliable. And then we'll get the regular season. We won't see him. It'll be week 9. We'll have an injury. He'll come up on the practice squad. He'll run some routes, probably have a slant caught, sit back down, and he's done his job. And it's like, all right, I'm glad we had Tom Kennedy. That's probably where it's going to go. Nothing wrong with that, though. It's valuable. That's why we keep him around. But I just don't know how much it actually can go beyond that, to be honest with you. Now, I didn't want to put our rookies this year on this list because I think that's a different conversation. Something that we can save for a later date is when we talk about our rookies' expectation, our expectations in terms of like the roles that they could play. But like I said, Love It video's coming. That's in the works on Dose of Dion 2.0. That hopefully is going to be out tonight. It's just those. I hate editing those, bro. It just takes so long with all those clips. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there, man. Shout out to everybody over here on BREAKOUT for watching this one. And I will see you guys on Wednesday, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have another show. My goodness. Maybe it's a rookie one. I don't know. Hopefully I didn't unplug anything. Maybe it's the rookie one. It'll be something good. But all these offseason workouts are right around the corner. And also the Lions are trying to get a rule passed. It sounds like it might happen. The reseeding after the first round of the playoffs, I'm excited about that. I'm excited that might become a thing. Lions might get a rule pass. I mean, they didn't get the defensive holding one pass, but we tried. You got to take your swings, man. Try. All right, we out of here, man. Have a great night. I'll see y'all Wednesday. Dang, that was pretty good. I was about 5 seconds off from 30 minutes there. I about nailed that. That's pretty good. I didn't want to just sit there for 5 seconds and waste time, but that was close. That was close. He has turnout Brad. No, that's crazy. I saw that comment. I'm laughing, bro. I'm like, all right, that's a crazy comment. We know who he is. Sound like Campbell talking about Craig. That's real though, bro. Like we know who Tom is. We know who Craig is. You know what would be a good player for this too? You wanted Craig. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, the Hard Knocks episode, right? Wasn't that like that was. They need to bring that. Like, look, I know Hard Knocks is like, yeah, this was bad for the Giants. For us, it was great though. I would love to see another Hard Knocks. And when is Inside the Den dropping? Can we? What are we waiting for there? But anyways, Shane Zylstra would have been a good name to put on this. Shane Zylstra would have been great because Shane Zylstra can pop as a receiver, and he's had some monster offseason activities that he's put together in the past. I think he would have been a good player to add on here, considering the Lions have 2 new tight ends this offseason where the competition kind of comes into play. I think if we do a part 2, Shane Zylstra is probably going to find his way onto this. Yeah, he might find his way onto this. The other one that I was considering that I didn't throw on here, and he might be on the part 2 as well, was Ronnie Bell. Ronnie Bell was the one because, I'm a Ronnie Bell fan going back to Michigan, and I don't think he's going to make it. And the problem is there's just too many guys in front of him. Like you would probably have to cut Khalif Raymond to get him on the squad. I don't think they're going to do that. But if Lovett was good enough, like there's a lot of things that are similar between those two, then maybe that door opens. But you'd even then still be keeping 6 receivers. But I'm thinking about Ronnie Bell potentially falling on this list. The problem is he doesn't do much on special teams. What if Terrion and Ennis both push in the top 20 quarterbacks in the NFL this year? Well, shoot, Terrion was last year. No, I mean, that'd be crazy because that would that's not including DJ. And hey, I did see what y'all were talking about, by the way. The video y'all were talking about DJ Reed with the schedule. I didn't know what that meant when I saw in the comment section. It was him holding up every play and he was doing it one by one. I didn't know what y'all were talking about. I just saw it. I'm like, oh, okay. I missed that one. Got it though. Now it makes sense. I'm glad y'all threw that on there. Yeah, no, love it. I'm excited about love it. What was the other one? They actually don't have him listed, I don't think. Cornerback's one that we could talk about all day, though. I think we could talk about this all day because there's so many spots potentially open at cornerback. Dorsey, Oliver Thomas, Rockison, Gavin Holmes is such an interesting piece. Really, the whole defensive back room feels like it's open. The Lawrence Strickland's fascinating. I would love to see Lawrence Strickland stick around. By the way, I want to give a shout to everybody in chat. I'm not reading most of them when we're live on both, but I did see my guy hop in the building and I missed it. Dab Daddy's here, man. I see you. I appreciate you joining, man. Z Digital's here as well. I think Brad teasing the Inside the Den was a troll job. Not getting one last year. Wait, did we not get one last year? That does sound right. I must have just forgot. Yo, I hope we get one. I hope we do. We got even if it's not Inside the Den, just like some behind the scenes, like just a little something. You know what I'm saying? I just want a little something behind the scenes. Bring back Vildor. Vildor got signed unless he just got released. But someone kind of came in and scooped him. I think they gave him a nice little deal too. I'm pretty sure Vildor got a little bit of money this offseason. Could be wrong. Yeah, okay. So Tampa signed him. With, well, okay, maybe not too much. It's basically the minimum here. 1.167K guaranteed. So at least as of now, he's on a team. It wasn't as big as a deal as I thought it was, but he is on a team. It's crazy. They get Vildor. Man, the connections are crazy there. What do you think the deep? And I'm surprised we moved off them, to be honest. I thought with Townsend we'd do it. I just don't think Vildor did better in coverage. He wasn't the same against the run last year. Vildor had a weird year last year. I don't know. It didn't feel like the upward trajectory. It just felt kind of weird last year. We didn't get a draft. Yeah, that's messed up. Do you think the defense could be the star of the team? Yeah, I think it could. I do think it could actually because, and my dad always brings this up. He's like, man, it's so weird being excited to watch the defense. And so many of the positions are now getting older in a good way. I think that we're leaning on that. Like Kirby, where he was going, Kirby just had his best season by far. Branch settling in at safety was great at safety. You got so many guys who are just getting older now. Campbell took off last year. Cornerback could be that now. If you had a jump like you got from Jack Campbell from Terrion at his position, and you paired that with, you have your vet there. You got a Meek Robertson who like that's stability with those guys already. But like if that kind of piece took a jump alone, you got a lot of the younger guys that are kind of taking over the defense, getting a little bit older now. Like, and now your vets are Levi. Your vets are Levi. It'll just be how do they hang on with some of the injuries early, specifically the Aleem one. How do they hang on without Aleem and a little bit of Wingo as well? And then by the time we get to the point where they're back on the team, I'm going to feel really good about it. It actually could be great to get those guys back because other guys will probably be hurt and they'll step in. But in that meantime, even without those guys, because you would count into that, like Aleem's now the vet of the team. Like it's kind of getting to that point now where it's like just into these new deals. This is the opportunity. This is the prime. I think we're starting the prime of kind of the young guys that we invested heavily in. So I don't see why not. I mean, offensively, it's just kind of the same group, right? Offensively, it's a great offensive line. A couple of new pieces potentially, maybe one new piece, and maybe two if you want to count Mahogany too. And then receivers basically the same. Tight ends kind of the same. Running backs the same. So the defense actually could be because there could also be a lot more stability there. I think they're going to do a good job with that coaching staff offensively, but there could be a lot more stability just moving right to Kelvin Shepard. A lot of your position coaches, you have a lot of guys already in the building, kind of now just taking over a different position coach. Like offensively, he's got some guys moving. You got a new running back coach, wide receiver coach moves, new tight end coach. I think it's essentially right, but defensively, it's a lot of the same guys. I mean, you get the same cornerbacks coach, you got the same safeties coach. Essentially, you got the same one of your same linebacker coaches took on a little bit of a bigger role. The linebacker is now your defensive coordinator. The only thing you really changed was you got a new defensive line coach, and you got a great one from what I've seen. So like that could pop fast. And typically we, as they say, like defense usually pops early. Like that's usually the thing that early is going to take off is typically going to be safety. So I think it's on the table. That's especially out of the gate. Like that's what leads the way. Who do you think gets a new contract next? My money is on Alex. Man, I'm not sure, dude. I don't know what they're going to do with Alex. I don't know what they're going to do with Alex. He's never felt like someone we talked about very much from like in terms of like getting into the deal. We often talked about him as like who's the next guy up, but you just don't have a guy really lined up for that. I don't think they're going to sign Alex before the season unless he held out. Now, if he holds out or something, I think they'll get a deal done. And I don't want to see him do that, but I think like if he like stood it, like he was like, yo, I'm not showing up. I think they'd pay him. Because I think they're like, yo, we got to get this dude on the field. I just don't think they're going to do it right now. I don't think they're going to, but I don't know. I don't think he's 32. I think he's like late 29, maybe 30. I don't think he's 32 yet. I don't think he's that old. He was drafted in 2017, right? So, yeah, 2017. He's 30. He's 30. He's holding out now. Yeah, I mean, he's holding out now, but like I don't count it yet because this isn't like nothing's legit. Like if he's holding out for things where like, hey, you're missing money, training camp, like these are mandatory. Like nothing right now is you're working out. Like that's it. But like once things get legit, that would be something. Right now I don't, really think it matters that much. Like it's probably just more smart. It's like why would I don't know. Like I don't know. Like if he could show up, I guess, just to go lift, but I don't know. Like I assume that's all they're really doing is like, hey, we're doing some weight training and we're running around. Like I don't know. It doesn't feel there yet, but it could get there. Alex was here because of Aaron Glenn. Glenn is gone. They don't care enough. Yeah, but he's still so that'll be interesting. If things change dramatically stylistically, then that's possible. And also, the fair point of that is that guy, that's his room. So if he feels comfortable with like next guy up is Malcolm, and we love that. Like, okay, maybe they could do something right there. And Malcolm was great last year. He was great, especially in coverage. He surprised me. I think you could hold it down. The fact is, you just wouldn't have much depth behind Malcolm. You kind of be like, oh, all right, who's really going to cover guys if he's hurt? Like, I don't like that's pretty much what you got. And you need that piece for Jack Campbell. If you don't have that guy next to Jack Campbell, it changes everything. It changes everything on how you can play the game without that next to Campbell because that's not Campbell. Like, there's like one legitimate knock on Campbell's game. You don't want him chasing around tight ends specifically. Alex can do that. And even running backs isn't great depending on how if he's running it to the flat, like, all right, he can do that. Much beyond that, you're like, I don't really want Jack doing that. Everything else is great. That's not really what you want him doing. Even on third downs, he comes off the field, right? Like not all the time, but he can come off the field because he won't match up with anybody. He's not like a great blitzer. He just doesn't miss the quarterback much when he gets back there. So that piece is so valuable for Jack. So I think there's a lot of value that he adds to it. I would love to see him get extended. I would love to see that. And plus, people got like Anzalone jerseys, so that'd be great. That'd be great. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. Yeah, I don't know because I don't think that Barnes adds it either. I don't know. I think Alex is unique, but maybe they would feel good about those two together. Barnes definitely adds it more than like Beauplan would. I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure what they're gonna do with that. Look it up. Let's see his deal. Oh, what am I looking at here? That's all right. That's crazy. So Barnes only played 120 snaps last year. Such an early injury, man. I forget how early that was until I look it up. I don't know. Do you think Tate Ratledge replaces Glasgow? My guess is, I don't know. You probably haven't seen the video. I think Tate Ratledge becomes our future center. So I think in short term, maybe. I think short term he's going to play guard. I think maybe. I'm not counting Glasgow out because I don't think the Lions are like completely sold on Mahogany. He's going to start next year. I think as his fans really like him. He didn't do much in pass pro from a numbers side of things. Like he didn't take that many pass protection snaps. So my assumption is based on what we saw last year is Mahogany and those two battling would make sense. I'm not completely convinced that Glasgow doesn't start week 1. Like it's I think ideally that'd be the case because then it's like, oh, okay, we're going the younger route. We got the two guys of the future. You have them at backup center. You don't have to mess around with like moving guys in. It's great. That means you feel really good at how Mahogany performed. I'm just not completely sold on that yet. Like Mahogany surprised me last year how good he was. He surprised me. Like I liked Mahogany when we went through it. I wasn't in love with his pass protection. So he surprised me with how good he was last year. There just wasn't a big enough sample size where I'm completely sold that he's going to have the kind of build up to the season in pass protection where it's like that guy is for sure going to start. I'm not there yet with it. I would love to see it based on last year. I feel like he looked like a starter. I'm just not completely there yet. So I just get the sense that with the Lions, they would be perfectly fine with saying we're going to roll with Glasgow. At least early in the year, we're going to roll with Glasgow. Now I think Miles Frazier legitimately could start. I think he could start. It'd be a wild ride to see him like jump over a guy like Mahogany, but like I actually think that's on the table because I was much higher on Frazier than I was. I just didn't know as much about Mahogany coming out, in fairness. But even after doing the Mahogany thing, like going into it from what I've done so far on Miles, I love Miles Frazier. So I felt very comfortable with Miles Frazier. Like I could see a path where that actually happened. Did Pascal get a ton of pocket push or is he just a run defender? I mean, he gets a little bit from the inside, especially if you like go back to the preseason, he was really good. Seeing that again today. But like from the outside, you're not going to get much. You're not going to get much. Like you'd occasionally get some things, but you don't get much. His run defense at least took another step though last year. Like he was really good against the run last year. Even for he outplays his limitations, I think, against the run. So I don't think he's much of a pocket pusher, which is why I think they stressed this offseason. Like he's going to go to the interior. Ideally, we want him on the inside on pass downs. Like we're not going to leave him at edge to try to go get wins, which is where Ahmed could be valuable because like you can put him on the outside, even though I think Ahmed's good on the inside too. They're gonna use him though. They love Pascal, man. They love that dude. And it's good because he does both. So like Pascal, there isn't like a down that you can't have him on the field. Especially on first, second down. Like he's always valuable on first, second down. I watched him tape Frazier. He surprised me. He's pretty good. Frazier's good. And like he could have some late wins or late losses that would be a concern at the next level because he usually wins really fast in the college level and he does a lot of kind of the same techniques over and over and over. That kind of thing is going to be much more tested, which is why like I put Miles Adams on the list. Like that kind of guy, like that kind of player has just been around a little bit longer. Those kind of guys are going to test him. Like as the play rolls along, is he sustaining guys? He's sticking with dudes as plays goes longer because it's going to look different for sure. But I don't know. Captain if we cut Glasgow. I think it's super reasonable from what I remember. I don't know about before this year. I don't know what that would be. I haven't looked at that. Let me see. It's a good question. I don't know this year. I know I know next year it's super easy to get out of, but let's see. So his dead cap is 5.8 million, 1.6 saved if cut now, which again would probably be okay because I don't think it matters too much. Like, so if they had a spot where they're like, we need that roster spot and they just decided to cut him, it would still open up all that cap for next year. You just eat it now. They don't really need to have cap space right now anyway. It's not like they're going to go sign with somebody for $40 million. So they would just be opening up anyways for next year. They have the luxury, I think, of doing that without really caring how much it saves this year. But it would save, it would save actually because technically speaking, right, it would save more next year if you cut him now because you just eat all the dead cap up front. So if they cut him now, they would save like, what is that, $8.5 million, $9 million next season? I don't know. Yeah, I hope not. Well, especially because we play division teams right away. So hopefully this isn't the case. Hopefully this ain't the case because we got division games right away. So hopefully we at least get we split with a couple teams in there. We don't want to drop like the first two. Hopefully we split the first two at worst. Uh, what up? What up? Did you? Yeah, you did. You tried to call me. I'll call you back. I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna end this soon. I gotta do my editing anyway. I'm gonna end this soon. Good point. Not gonna sign Clowney for 40 million. Well, well, actually, we might. I don't know. We might give Clowney the big money. No, I hope not. I hope not. Hopefully you didn't read a rumor on that. Prediction on where Hendrickson gets traded to. Who would do that? Washington. I'm gonna guess Washington. Washington's gonna pull a move because they know they got to deal with Philly. I don't even know if Washington has money, but if I was guessing, I would say Washington. I have no idea. Let me see. Cap calculator. Come on, where's Washington at? Washington got to have some cap space. You know, it'd be interesting. Arizona would be interesting. They already made one swing, but like Arizona has $32 million in cap space, 18 next year. Arizona would be fun. Now they're young. They kind of went young this year, but man, they added some vets on the inside. If they went out, yo, that would be fun. I like Arizona. I don't know if Washington has any money. They should have money. 22 million. They got a lot of money next year. They could. Trey Hendrickson to the Patriots. That's interesting. People think they're going to take off this year. People think they're going to cook this year. You know, it'd be a good one. Carolina, especially if it was like a deadline move, right? Because they went young early. They moved off Clowney. They could get to the deadline and like try to make that move. They don't have a ton of cap space, but they could try it. I could see something like that maybe. Would be another one. What about Baltimore? Does Baltimore have money? They got to touch money. They got to touch money. Probably not enough. Probably not enough to do something like that. But Baltimore would be intriguing too because. Oh, I like that. Okay, I actually kind of like this one. What about San Fran? Because they've moved off the old guys this year. Like it would feel like it's counterproductive, right? Because what you did. But let's say they like going through the year, Michael's not cooking, and they're just like, let's go get him, and they're like, let's put him opposite of Nick Bosa. We're trying to win right now. Baltimore makes the most sense though, because Baltimore don't have any dudes. They got Mike Green. But they could use another one. Shoot, if you had Hendrickson, and then if you had Trey Hendrickson, Mike Green, and Justin Matabike, they could feel good about that. Dropping Sweat to get Daniels and trade for Hendrickson. Now that's a GM. Washington dropping Sweat to get Daniels. Dropping Sweat to get Daniels. Dropping Sweat to get Daniels. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like what? I don't know. You should join Rocked Online. Oh, he texted me. I don't know. I think that's actually you want to do something this week. I don't think he texted me back. He texted me, but he didn't. I don't think he texted me back. So I have to follow up with him. Let me see. Let me see. I think he texted me last week. I don't know. I have to find it. I'll text him back. I don't know. I have to find it. Hendrickson to the Vikings. Yeah, let's not do that. They're not allowed to do that. No, they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to do that. Yeah, they don't have any money either. Yeah, Vikings, you can't do that. Didn't Bears trade their picks for Sweat? Oh, I'm thinking. Wait. Oh, I'm thinking of Josh Sweat. That's why. Okay, that's why it's throwing me off. Because I think that's why it was throwing me off. I had Arizona in my mind. I'm thinking Josh Sweat. It was throwing me off. I was like, wait, what are we? Got you. Okay. I don't get it. Well, I don't get what we're doing. I mean, like, what is there to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you? He's had one He's had one off season. Essentially, he's had one season with us. Like, I don't know what you would do with Hooker at this time. Like, you're just gonna trade him? Trade him? Let our backup be who's our who's our backup now? It's Kyle Allen? We're just gonna trade him for let Kyle Allen roll. Maybe we get like a day 3 pick. I don't think you get more than a day 3 pick. He was a round 3 pick to begin with. You took 2 years off of that. You're gonna get a day 3 pick. So let's say you get a 5th round pick. Like I don't think the Lions. I know they value draft picks, but I feel like as of now, they don't like it, bro. I don't think they value a 5th round pick enough right now to do something like that. I don't think they would. I don't think they'd get enough to feel comfortable. Now, if someone said, "Hey, here's a 2nd round pick," now maybe they cut Jake Fromm. You know what I mean? They cut Jake Fromm. I guess I can get him back. Yeah, I just don't think there's a path right now to really do anything with him. Just let him play, see what it turns into. Last season was such a big step. See what it turns into. Like, so, people thought we got him. Like, he compete to be the starter. Now, I mean, Goff got his new deal, but like, shoot, if he's that dude, I mean, he got room to go as a passer. But last year was a lot of fun. Let him cook in the preseason. Let him be a better passer this year. Now we can really start to. Now that buzz can really grow. At least let him try to move his value up because I don't think he moved his value up enough last preseason. Like, I mean, I guess unless we trade him to like the Cowboys because they seem to trade for everybody. I don't know that he pushed his value up high enough for it to make sense yet. But like, say he just went crazy, maybe that would get him to a spot where it's worth doing it. Rooker's worth like an 8th round pick right now. That's crazy. What do you think of our run game is going to look like? I think it's going to look just like last year. But maybe some. I mean, I don't know. They might lean a different scheme heavy based on like who they have. They could go more gap scheme this year. I could see them pulling guys a little bit more, especially with Tate and with Miles. Like those guys are comfy there. Christian, I could see them going a little more gap scheme this year, just because they'll lean into what Hank Fraley likes as the run game coordinator, right? Like, okay, I'll roll a couple more. I got a question. More plays for Jamison Williams means less plays for who? Something has to change. More plays for JMO means less plays for probably receiver 4, whoever Khalif. Because like you're typically gonna have 3 receivers on the field anyway. Lions do sometimes 2, right? But like that would be Tim Patrick. Like it'd probably be less for Khalif. Like I said, I don't think we're going to see a lot of Isaac Tesla early. I could be wrong. If he's good enough, they'll put him on the field. They'll jump him over to Tim Patrick. I don't think we're going to see him a lot early. I don't think we're going to see much of Lovett this year. I think he'll do a lot of special teams. I don't think we'll see much of him this year. I think Tesla will be a kind of a slow burn, and then he'll take off eventually. He'll have like a week, I think, where you're like, oh, man, that's Isaac Tesla. But I don't think it's going to happen early. Like if right now, if I was guessing, I think he's inactive week 1. Do I believe that? I don't know if he's inactive week 1, but if I was guessing right now, he plays no snaps week 1. I like that. I don't want to say he's inactive because they keep him active for numbers. I'm going to say he plays 0 offensive snaps week 1. That's my guess. Make a trade with Knuckles and Trey. What would that look like? Make a trade with Knuckles and Trey. You want to get rid of you were really you're a big Vaki guy, huh? Hey, look, man, I'm with you on that one. You know what I'm saying? Vaki's that dude. Make a trade with Knuckles and Trey. What would that look like? So you're saying we give them Montgomery and they're going to give us Trey Hendrickson. I get where you're coming from because they don't have a running back. I think they try to add one in the draft, but they don't really have a running back. Look, man, I think the only thing with Trey is the financial. I don't think the Lions would have any problem like giving him. I'm not gonna say Montgomery. Montgomery, by the way, I was watching back the draft where he got selected, and his like what he did in college was pretty awesome. Like there was like a story of like I can't remember exactly which one his was, but he was hanging out with like this kid at like he was driving to go see him at like the hospital. I can't remember who the kid was. Like in that process to getting drafted. Like that was pretty awesome. Like Dave Montgomery's that dude, bro. You know what I mean? That was just a side note. I saw that. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. It was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. I think we'll see Tesla on red zone fades. Maybe. We don't throw a lot of fades, though. But it would be cool to see it come back. I mean, the last guy I think we thrown a fade to was like 3 years ago. We threw in a Cephas. Like, I guess we technically ran like some wheel fades to St. Brown. Like we've had a couple of those mixed in there. But Tesla could do it. Tesla could bring that back. He could run it back. Like I never felt like I don't think maybe we ran like a couple with Josh, maybe. Definitely don't think we ran any with Chark, not in the red zone at least. But like the last ones, like the ones I remember being successful were like Quintez Cephas. Cephas running the fade, man. Or St. Brown from the slot, just going to the pylon. Healthy Sam Laporta. Come on, man. This dude was going through it last year. I'll trade Pascal Martin in a 4 for Hendrickson. Bro, if he didn't cause, if he just like, if they would like pay his contract, then I think they'd do it. I think they would do it. I just think it's the money thing, man. We've never had a tall contested catch guy. Now we really, I mean, closest thing had to be Josh. Closest thing had to be Josh. Like I said, Cephas did it, but like a couple times. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, who's the tallest receiver we've had? I mean, Josh was tall. Josh was like 6'3". So he wasn't. Oh, I'm not all time. Not all time. My bad. Yeah, Megatron was that dude. But I meant like within the golf era. I don't know. Probably was Josh. Tim Patrick? Is Tim Patrick the tallest? Tim Patrick isn't really like that kind of guy though, so that makes sense. Like why they don't do it. That's not really his thing. I feel like we never threw fades at Tim Patrick. Yeah. Yeah. Shoot, maybe, man. I'm here with coming back. I love watching the fades. I love watching them. They're like scary because they hang up in the air and you're like, oh, don't pick it. Don't pick it. They're scary, but they're also like the most disgusting. It's like an extra point when you like moss somebody on a fade in the end zone. It's like, yeah, that was different. That's free points, baby. You can't stop that. You just talk your crap after somebody catches a fade. You got to talk your crap. Like that's just different. All right, you caught a little hitch route. But if you catch a fade, you can like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he's too small kind of deal. Like you can do all of that. You can do all of that. Tim Patrick's touchdown against Bills was fire. That touchdown was fire. I saw that recently. That was was that like the little broken play? That touchdown was fire. So many worried about our schedule. Be fine. 11, 12 wins. That'd be amazing. You see similarities between Chark and Tesla. Trying to think if I did. I would uh I don't know. Like definitely not body type wise. I think they ran some of the things that we could see from both. I mean, they both can just burn and go vertical. Like they both can do that. I think they both can track the ball. Trying to think. You know what I would say? I think Chark had better body control than I expected. Chark surprised me with some of his ability to save passes on the move like he did. He like had some length to his game. He was pretty soft hands on spot. He reminds me a little bit of that in that sense. Like Tesla's got some of that. He had a little bit of that too, and I didn't think Chark did until he came with us and he was able to save some passes. When the Ravens smoked us last year, was that a zone D or combination of zone and man? When the Ravens smoked us, was that 2 years ago? When Ravens smoked us 2 years ago. That was I honestly don't remember what that was. I think it was a lot of man, if I'm remembering right, because we played a lot. I think it was a lot of man, but it was a lot of breakdowns. There's a lot of breakdowns, a lot of eyes in the backfield, a lot of guys watching the mesh point, losing receivers. We lost one receiver completely one time. Mark Andrews, I don't think anybody even covered him one time. The other one, I think Andrews just like cooked iffy 101. We had guys underneath just not picking dudes up. Like there was no communication, or one guy to communicate, nobody would pick it up, and guys would just run open into the flats. We had a lot of that goofiness. It was just a lot of miscommunication in that game. A lot of that. But I think we're in a better spot now. We were young, man. We were, it was year 2 of this whole thing, but yeah, it was a lot of messy. I mean, maybe that was year 3. Take that back. That could have been year 3. But I think the guys that they picked on were young. They picked on Jack Campbell in that one. If he was young, they picked on some young dudes. I think our D line would be able to manhandle Chicago and Green Bay. I don't know about Baltimore. Yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that. I mean, Green Bay's got a good O line though. You know, Green Bay's got a good O line. They invested in again. They always have a good O line. They always pass pro pretty well. But I'd love to cook those dudes up front. I definitely think that's possible with Chicago. Like, I don't think Jonah's that dude. I think that's possible. Baltimore? I mean, what Baltimore might have the worst offensive line though. I mean, the problem is Lamar's going to run around, but they might have the worst offensive line of those 3. Right? Like I think they added a guard in the draft. Like, but they still got Follow Lele playing in there. They got Joseph Noteboom. Rosengarten's going to be a right tackle. What else they got in here? They added Emory Jones. I think he's a backup, though. Ronnie Stanley, and then who's the other one? They had another one here. I don't know who the fifth one is. Who is their fifth one? Andrew Voorhees. That's right. I forgot about Voorhees. Oh yeah, that might be the worst offensive line. Those are big dudes though. Big dudes though. It seems like we have a ton of depth now. I know depth can win towards the end of the season, but what about per game? Can depth win games? That's a good question. Does depth win games? I think it depends on the position. Like offensive line, no, right? Because offensive line's not going to rotate. Defensive line, I think it can. So unless you're Aiden Hutchinson, like most guys are rotating on the defensive line. Cornerback, no, doesn't do much for you. Unless you're talking about like a slot. Other than that, though, that's essentially a starter. Safety, maybe, right? Because we would kind of dabble in like a third safety, but not really. Linebacker, I think yes. I think depth at linebacker matters. I would say receiver depth probably matters because you just need different body types, different styles that can win. Running back depth matters. We have that. Quarterback doesn't. So just depends on the position. I think the positive is, especially when we get healthy, you'll have it at those positions. Like you'll have defensive lines that can rotate. You'll feel really good about a lot of them. Linebacker will we'll have like four we kind of know. So we'll at least have an extra body we can kind of get in out. We do typically rotate those guys. Maybe we'll just do it less this year. But not every position, you know what I mean? Like and that's okay. Like offensive line probably won't help us that much in terms of having depth. Outside of one, they try to rotate guards, which I hope that doesn't become a thing. And number two, because they've done it before. Or number two, because of actual injuries, like or something like that, or just because they'd have another option if somebody played like trash. Like, all right, we'll go to this guy instead. I thought Noteboom was in LA. Did he go to Baltimore? Yeah, he must. I mean, he's on their. He's on their. I'm just looking at their cap. I'm just looking at their cap, and Joseph Noteboom's listed. So maybe did he get cut? Wait a minute, he might not be there. Let me see. Joseph Noteboom, free agency next year. I think he's there. Yeah, he signed a 2-year contract with him, or a 1-year, $2 million deal with him. 1 year, $2 million. That's kind of surprising. Yeah, 1 year, $2 million. Does keep from losing. There you go. Is Levi possibly playing more on the outside? Brandon Sturbridge. Oh yeah, I know. I think if they have the guys, they'll play him on the outside. I think they like him on the outside. And look, like Casey Rogers has had very big DNs in the past. They've done it. Definitely go check out the Casey Rogers videos if you haven't. Hopefully you're gonna like it. But it's long. But if they have the depth, they'll do it. But if they don't, they'll play him on the inside. I think they feel comfortable with both after last year. The Lions make it January with all 22 starters. If they make it with all 22 starters, they're winning the Super Bowl straight up. Like if we hit the playoffs and we have all of our starters on the field, we're winning the Super Bowl, dog. Because like there actually is some legitimate correlation between being healthy and running in the playoffs. If we were fully healthy, I think we'd win the Super Bowl. Like I'd be very confident about that. We'd be in a really good spot. If you're telling me our D line in that point is a rotation of Roy Lopez, Aleem McNeil, Tyleik Williams, Wingo throw them in there, then your D ends are a Hutch and Davenport. Yeah, we win the Super Bowl. Like, bro, straight up, that's crazy. I hope that's the case, especially at that position. Where does Vaki fit? Running back 4. I think he's running back 3. I think he's running back 3 to me because we'll see. I mean, last year was kind of like a filling out. They used Craig Moore like kind of end games, but Vaki was used in the pass game a little more. So it's more situational. He's definitely a bigger. He's our second best receiving target now that Gibbs took off. The Lions may feel like that's Monty because he's really good there. He's just a little bit less route tree, but he's definitely of those two. He's the better pass catching back. I think he's more running back 3 personally. I think that's how it's going to shake out after this year. It's kind of where I look at it. And but we'll see. I mean, he's got to take a step too. I believe Goff will run for the most yards this year than any other. Oh, snap. Okay. I'm always with that. I'm always a little scoop. Eagles had 21 to 22 starters playing. See, and look at what happened. Hey, bro, that's what I'm saying, bro. If we were like that, yeah, we win a Super Bowl, dog. That's crazy stat, though, Ed. I didn't know that. Broncos had 60 sacks this year. Was last year. Next was Raising 54. If we had Hutch and Trey. I know. Look, I have a Trey episode up. Y'all can look it up on the channel. It's a Trey video. Me and Easy did it. They just won't do it though. Like not, and now knowing they feel like they can't afford Za'Darius, I don't think they'll do that. I don't think they'll do it. They would have to view him as a core piece, which they absolutely would if they made that trade. They would view him as like, oh, he's the core, so this means that we're willing to move off another one of these starters because we have him. Whether that's probably a significant starter too, like her or multiple. Like, yeah, get off of Glasgow, get off of Montgomery, and then you're getting off of those two probably for sure at that point. And then you're probably there's probably another one too. Like you're definitely getting off. You're not paying Alex again. There's either a multitude of guys or you're like choosing him over like Brian Branch. I don't think they would do that. If he runs to the corner store, no, that's crazy. That's crazy, bro. That's true. That's true. I like that. I like that. I like that because we've always kind of rotated the Gibbs backup or the Swift backup. We've always had the other backup because we've had Craig. Outside of Hutch, who is the second best player on defense? I think it's Branch. Yeah, I think. When healthy, second best player on defense outside of Hutch. I honestly, I think. Yeah, it's hard not to argue. I would say last year was Jack Campbell, but I would typically say Brian Branch. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you on that. What do you think of Tashard Choice? I'm surprised that we got him. To be honest with you, I'm excited. He's been a part of a lot of NFL running backs. He's also seemingly done a really good job at kind of finding, like smaller recruits and finding success with like smaller schools that he was in the past. And I think the early quotes that we had of like, "Oh, hey, judge me on Craig and Vaki" gets me excited. That gets me excited. I know the other two are dogs. The thing with him will be like developing the actual rushing style, which is good for Vaki because Vaki to me needs that. Like that's not what he did in college. Like he's always been able to catch the ball. Can he run the ball better? Like when we dial that in, that's where he could help us a lot. I think Gibbs could still use work there. So I'm hoping that he even takes that a step further because having your guys be good pass catchers with Montgomery is just expected. Like Montgomery's a receiver coach more than not. So you would think that your running backs would be really good receiving backs if you have Montgomery as your running backs coach. Are they bringing in a competition for Bates? I don't think so. I mean, we might, just take reps off him at some point, but I don't think there's actually going to be competition. There might be a guy here, but I don't think I would ever consider it competition this offseason. I don't think that would be a thing. Finger crossed. I'm with you there, dude. Hopefully Ahmed's crazy. Anyways, so look, I gotta edit that video. I gotta edit that video. That's the Dominic Lovett video coming out hopefully tonight. Maybe not though. It's 7 here. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see how fast I can edit that. It'll take some hours, but we'll see how fast I can get that done. That'll be the next video out. And then outside of that, we're kind of just getting ready for the offseason stuff. Wednesday, we'll have a show again, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Anything other than that, man, tag me on X, send it to my messages or whatever, if y'all want to see something specific and we'll do it. Well, maybe if it's trash, I'm not doing it. Like if y'all give me an idea that's garbage, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. If it's trash, it just is what it is. But no, we got some things in the works too with some grouping stuff. So hopefully that kind of comes together here soon. And maybe even I don't know. I don't want to throw that out there because I don't know if it's gonna happen. But it's on the table. It's on the table. If it happens, y'all will see it. Y'all know. All right. Anyways, man, I'm gonna leave it there. Appreciate y'all joining. Shout out to everybody in the chat, and I will see y'all soon, man. Look out for the video. And if you haven't seen the Ratledge one, that one's up right now. Like to the guy that I said I think he's gonna be our future center. That one's for you, my guy. We out of here.